What's going on, guys? Sakha here. Today's video, I want to talk about a mistake that I have made in this last year. It is the year 2021, and a mistake that I have made in my business ownership journey is my onboarding process. And I came to this conclusion after, realizing during the last year specifically in 2021 that I have been making multiple offers. I know everyone's talking about how hard the job market is to find employees, to find quality employees. And I would argue that I haven't had that problem. I have found good quality people to add to my team. But a mistake that I have been making that has made me lose candidates in the process is my onboarding process. And so one of the things that I need to change, and I'm currently in the process of doing it, is adding to my onboarding process. And what I mean by that is, I'll tell you an example of how I've been hiring people, right? I typically only bring people on when they're licensed, or once they get licensed. So if I'm interviewing somebody and I give them the job, and then I add them to my add them as a staff if they accept, and then I will sign them up for all the study materials. I'll schedule them for their test, and we'll get going. But what I have found in the last year specifically is after they leave my office and I give them the offer letter that has the compensation plan, and I send them on their way with their study materials and their scheduled test, as soon as they are met with any sort of resistance, and what I mean by that is they get too busy in their life and they're not able to study for this test, or maybe they take the test, their insurance exam, and then they fail it. The moment they meet a little bit of resistance, they fall through the cracks, and then I get ghosted, and I don't hear from some of these candidates. And so I really wanted to make this video to talk about what I'm going to be doing differently, because I have been losing money, I've been losing energy, resources by losing some of these candidates in the process. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do differently. I've always only brought people on that were licensed or that would get licensed. More often than not, they have to get licensed before I start them. The thing that I'm doing differently is, assuming I have the space and the capacity for a certain person that I like, I will allow them to join my team, even unlicensed, and I will allow them to do basic service work, sales assistant work, and telemarketing work, just to get them comfortable in the role while they study and pass their test. And then once they pass their test, I can pretty much safe to say that it will solidify them staying on my team, especially in a job market that's a little bit more competitive and harder to find people. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I realize that I need to step my game up, that my onboarding process hasn't been the best. And what I mean by that is, I read this somewhere and I heard this somewhere that, when somebody takes a job, there's a lot of uncertainty around changing an industry or changing a job. And so you need to really, as a business owner or hiring manager, give them more certainty by taking that role. And so what I mean by that is way more communication. You send them an offer letter, make them sign it, right? And you are in constant communication. You want to essentially let them know exactly what the next 2 to 4 weeks are going to look like and what they need to be doing in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And let that be via email, let them be via DocuSign, let that be something that they need to sign. And there needs to be some form of constant communication with these new candidates while they're getting licensed, while they're studying to get their license. For me, I think that I have, by hiring the way I've always been doing it, which is after I, give them the offer and they accept, that process has made me lose money, because it's so much easier to find an unlicensed position somewhere else. And so if you're an insurance agency and you're struggling with staffing, maybe this can help you. Maybe this can give you some ideas and insight on what you need to possibly do differently in your onboarding process that will make these candidates stick. Now, I'm always looking at me. What can I be doing better? Consistent communication, whether that be email, text, phone calls, to follow up with these candidates will keep them in your pipeline a little bit longer, so that way you don't lose them, and you don't have to go back to spending money on resumes and hiring companies. And so ultimately, I think this can help, and it will help my onboarding process, and hopefully this gives you some ideas on how to improve yours as well. So again, just wanted to make this video because I realized an area where I had been screwing up and losing money. And so hopefully this will help you guys. If you got some value, like this video, subscribe for all things entrepreneurship, self-development, and insurance. Follow me on my social media platforms. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.